Welcome to our greatest American art form.
The mixtape.
Now, for all of you kids who don't know,
Traditionally, a mixtape is a homemade compilation of media from multiple sources, recorded into a medium like a CD, a VHS, or cassette tape.
what we are presenting to you here is something we call Mixtape Therapy,
A collection of authentic conversations,
often wacky conversations,
inspired by what inspires us.
except instead of a cassette tape, we are bringing you a podcast
So just as you might share a mixtape, we share these conversations with you.
in the hopes that they spark a similar connection to the good old mixtape. Now,
Join us for a little
for some Mixtape Therapy.
Me and my niggas outside of the crib, blowing the smoke and rolling a few, shooting some dice and making a flip. We getting the lit, you know what it do. One of my homies said, I got a question I want to know. Like, what would you choose? If you had 24 hours to live, then where would you go? And what would you do?
Welcome back to another episode of Mixtape Therapy. This is a really special episode, especially for me, because I'm bringing in two of my former guests on my regular podcast. My name is Scottie. You can find me. I'm a coach. I'm a personal coach, and you can find that coaching at heyjustbe.com. And then today we are doing some mixtape therapy, and mixtape therapy is basically, taking any forms of media, putting into this form of a podcast, and hopefully growing and learning stuff about ourselves and a little bit about music at the same time, or movies, or whatever we're doing. My two guests are my new friend, Russ. Russ, what's up?
What's up?
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good to have you back.
Yeah.
So my other new friend, Shawn Livingston. Shawn, how you doing?
I'm great, brother. How are you?
Good. It's not hard to find you, but tell people where they can find you.
It's on Instagram. I am Shawn Livingston. I also do a podcast as well that Scott will be soon to be coming on. Russell has been on. His episode's coming out soon. It's called I am Redemption on Instagram, and then just Shawn Livingston on any of the other platforms.
Yep.
SHAWN.
Awesome podcast, by the way.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So today, us three guys, we're all big hip hop heads. And so I asked these guys to come in and do a special episode of Mixtape Therapy for me. I picked the song, not because necessarily like how great the song is, but more of like the song's representation and meaning. Had either one of y'all guys heard the song before I sent it to you?
Actually, I'll chime in on that. I was jamming that album for like a good 6 months.
Good, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
How about you, Shawn?
I've not heard the song. I've definitely heard a bunch of Joyner. I'll be honest, Joyner is not somebody that I listen to on a regular basis, but respect his lyrical abilities and his craft.
How come you don't listen to him? What do you don't like about him?
I think he's a lyricist. I think I just tend to go back more towards the 90s era style lyricists and the New York rap. There's not a ton of the new guys that really catch my flavor.
Well, you know what's so funny about that dude? Maybe Russ can jump in on this. Is that he has these kind of very poppy kind of songs, but he does have songs where he's like a pretty good lyricist. You know what I mean? It starts like just doing like old school like rapping. So I can appreciate that. The funny part about it is I skip over a lot of those songs and go back to the hippity hop like fun ones, which is like weird. You know what I mean? Even though I respect and love a lot of those old hip hop songs, it's like when somebody new does it, I'm like, you don't know how to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you stick to the fun. Let's have some fun. Like don't be trying to be all cool and serious. You know. Anyways. So the song is by Joyner Lucas. It's called 24 Hours to Live. And the concept of the song is what would you do if you had 24 hours to live? And so for people that haven't heard my regular podcast or know the history of these two guys, both these guys are recovered addicts. They have probably lived more life than everyone listening and me involved probably combined, you know what I mean, in the short period of time they've been on this planet. So I was really curious personally, and we can start with anybody, like, you know, what would you do if you had 24 hours to live?
It's such a good question because do you go the crazy route? Do you go the admirable route? You know what I mean? I don't know. For me, I don't know unless I was actually in the situation which route I would choose. Like, do I just go, I only got 24 hours to live, you know what I mean? So is it just fuck it, let's go have some fun? Or is it like, you know, what I honestly lean towards is like, I'm trying to get in contact with as many people as I love and make sure that they know how I feel about them, you know, what I think about them, what I think about they're doing and all that, and just make sure that everything in my life and every person in my life knows exactly where we stood before I go out. That's where my mind immediately goes.
Could I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir. Always.
As someone that was heavy in the drugs, I mean, you obviously weren't very worried about the time you go out and preparing for it, because at any moment you could have just died.
Yeah.
Right. So when you talk about, like, you know, getting square with everyone before you leave, it's like, haven't you already done that?
Yeah, it's square, but I'm saying like doubling down. Obviously now, you know, coming up on 7 years sober, you know what I mean? It's kind of back to regular life a lot of ways now. And so it's the same thing anybody else deals with is, you know, people you love, but life happens, you lose touch and stuff like that. So it's just kind of making that one last round. I'm not saying to make amends with anybody, but it's to just let them know truly where I hold them in my heart. And, you know what I mean? Being vulnerable and letting them know how much I love them.
Is that weird to say that you're coming back to that? That like you did that when you were younger, and then you get lost for this period of time inside drugs. And then you're like, I'm getting back to like regular life, like missing people and like telling them I love them. And like,
oh yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Like, that's so crazy that all these really important things that were important for you when you were younger and are important now for a period of time were just not important.
Yeah. Not even that they weren't important, but I think we may have spoke about it when we did the podcast originally, but what you do when you're an addict is you shield yourself from anybody that you know loves you or you love, because you just don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you don't want to see, you know, they don't approve of your actions. So you don't let them see your actions or your state of your being.
Yeah. Russ, what about you? Anything off the top of your head that you're doing in the first 24 hours or in this last 24 hours, as you say?
Dude, so many crazy thoughts came to mind. I was sitting there listening to the song and I was like, dude, I would totally rob a bank and like give a whole shitload of money to my fam and like people I love and stuff and be like, here, like, I want to make sure you're good before I go. But to Shawn's point, like, that was the second thought that came in. I was like being more realistic about it. And I was like, you know what, man, I would really just want to spend some quality time with the ones I love. And then also reach out to people that mean a lot to me and be like, hey, man, you mean a lot to me. And I just want to let you know that you're loved, and then peace out. But man, so many things that I could do. And that's the cool thing about that song is like, it makes your mind wander and you're just like, man, what would I do?
So let me ask you this real question too.
Yeah.
24 hours to live. It doesn't matter. Do you get high?
You know what? I was just going to say that too. That never even came into my fucking mind at all.
Did it come into your mind, Shawn?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Did it? Really?
I'm not, but the thought, yeah. I got 24 hours to live. Fuck it. Burn it down.
Yeah.
But that's still the addict in me talking. But as I like actually, that's the difference of the person I am now, the person I am then. Before it would have just, fuck it, let's burn it all down. Now you still have that thought, but it's a fleeting thought to where it's like, if I get high again, I'm going to fucking fall out and nod out the entire time. And so that I'm not even going to experience that 24 hours. I'll just basically be sleeping the whole time. So no, I won't do that.
Yeah, you played the tape through.
Yeah.
I think that's it just shows a sign of where y'all are at in your sobriety, that the first option isn't getting high.
Right?
It's like the second, third, fourth.
Crazy.
It's the second, third, or fourth option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wild.
Whenever y'all were heavy into it, did you ever?
Can I just tell you, I love these questions because nobody asks us this because we all think the same way.
Wait, what do you mean that all addicts think the same way?
Yes.
Like we've lived and experienced this so much, and so I'm not gonna lie, it's fun. Like my wife asked me, you know, when we first got together, she asked me endless questions. It's fun to try to explain the fucking insanity of being an addict and like to a rational person, and their eyes just like, what?
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck? You
just
did
what
that?
it was.
Well, I mean, but do you think in those moments you gain a lot of perspective? Like when you tell that back, it's almost kind of like you're processing it a little bit, or no?
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course.
There's that, and then there's also like it's cool to talk about because it's so far so far removed from my life. It's a different human being. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of people ask us like, oh, how can you guys joke about it or make fun about it? And it's not the same person. I'm not that person anymore. That person made the worst decisions in the world. He was a shitty person and all
He was
that.
a loser.
He was a fucking devastating loser. But so it's easy to make light about it now.
And we have to look light about it so we can become different, become better, be motivated by that.
Is there any part of y'all, like when you were saying earlier, Shawn, that like I know that if I do drugs again, I'm just going to nod off, like I'm going to miss the whole thing. Is there a part of you not wanting to do drugs because you don't want to miss the last 24 hours of your life?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there had to have been a time where you didn't feel like that.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Was there ever a time that you thought, like, this is my last 24 hours, like I'm not going to make it past today?
All the time.
Really?
Yes, dude. There were so many times where, like, I'm sure John can relate, where I was like literally on verge of overdose and like just having that attitude of fuck it, I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna let it be done right here.
That's what it is. I don't. If I die, I die. I don't care.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it's sick to even think about and turns my stomach. But I used to shoot up so much cocaine where I would stand there like dry heaving over the toilet, like holy fuck, it's about to happen. I'm gonna die. I'm going to fucking die. And then I don't die. And then 2 seconds later, I'm loading it back up to go right back into that feeling again where I'm standing there. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die.
Were you trying to die?
No, not actively, but that's the difference of how a normal person's brain works and how an addict's brain works. If us as heroin addicts, I hear the dude up the street got shit that so-and-so OD'd off of because it was so good. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's
this
crazy.
Dope, you start hearing a rumor this dope's killing everybody. Get me that shit now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's wild, right?
Yeah.
Just to think of that mind frame, that type of attitude towards something that's so deadly.
But at the end of the day, like going back to your question about 24 hours to live, so much of my life now is like ensuring that people know that past isn't me. And so, you know, the work I do today, the people trying, you know, he or I try to help and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know if legacy is the right word, but I'll make sure that the last thought everybody had of me was a good person that helps people, that used his experience to help others. And so that's probably what my last 24 hours would be is just making sure that that's solidified and everybody knows where we stand.
You feel that way, Russ?
I do, man. It's so crazy that, you know, we didn't conversate about this before, but we both had like the same thoughts about that. It's not even about appearance. It's about like the memory, the legacy, like people, you know, impacting people's lives. It's what I think about now instead of retaliating against political issues or like it says in the song, like I'm going to go find every pedophile and lay him down. Like, that would be great, but I don't have enough time to do that if I got 24 hours. So it's like, what can I realistically do? And the best thing is like, just give back some love into the world.
I just imagine you're like, it's like your mom. You're like, fuck. You just killed somebody. You just killed a pedophile. You're like, hey, and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm just in the middle of killing pedophiles. I gotta let you go. And it's like, did you call your sister? No, I didn't call my sister. I'm in the middle of something. Mom, I gotta let you go. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're trying to take care of both at once. Oh, by the way, I'm dying today. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're trying to take care of everything like kind of all at once. You know?
And it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
There's nobody I hate in this world, I think, enough to take a minute out of that last day of mine to give them that minute. You know what I mean? That means if I'm going to go kill somebody, that means I got to drive there. I got to do all that. I'm wasting the minutes of my last 24 hours. There's nobody that's worth that for me.
Is there anybody from your past that maybe told you that, you know, you would always be an addict, you'll always be a loser, you'll never be good, you'll never be clean, blah, blah, blah. And in that 24 hours, you want to go find them and go like, hey, just to let you know, I'm dying today, but I figured this shit out, right? Would you want to let them know, or are you past that ego of that?
Yeah.
I think it's happened for us both organically.
What do you mean?
Like
I think
by example, I think we've done that already.
Like now I live a very good life right now. I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed to be able to help people. I'm very blessed to have a platform and stuff like that. So there's not many people that don't Facebook creep people. And so anybody from my past, I'm sure that it's ever thought about me as Facebook creep me and saw what I'm doing now. So it's kind of like that handled itself. You know what I mean? And it's easy to look him up on Facebook, see he's a happily married man. He's doing good things, smiling and all that. And so it's like anybody that ever said that about us can easily see that that's not the case.
That's true.
You said that, you know, you would want to ensure that all your loved ones and everyone's close to you knows that, you know, that you're sorry for everything you did or blah, blah, whatever. But sitting here.
Okay,
go ahead.
That's all been handled.
Okay.
That I need them to know how much I love them, the place they hold in my heart.
You don't think they know though?
No, but I want to say it.
Okay. Well, why wouldn't you just do that today?
I have, but I'm just saying that's how I'd want to.
You're saying
refreshing those memories and those thoughts in their head is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, no, I it's just a curious thought because I started thinking about it like, you know, would I need to tell these really important people how much they mean to me, or would they already know? Have I told them enough, or, you know, shown enough or whatever? And in y'all's case, have you shown enough change that, you know, they know who you are and that you love them and stuff like that?
Right. I mean, think about anybody that's died in your life, you know, unfortunately up to this point. I'm sure even if you had talked to him the day before and told him you loved him, I'm sure there's that internal feeling where it's like, fuck, man, I wish I could have gave him one more hug and just fucking looked him in the eye and told him how much I loved him.
Dude, when we were on the podcast, I was talking about a buddy of mine literally OD'd and died like 3 blocks from here. And I spent that night before with him. And that's what I remember, right? Like, I remember hanging out with him. And the next day we were going to go play golf together. We were going to do all the shit. I remember that part of him, right? I don't hone in on what happened. I hone in on the experience beforehand. I think that's what Shawn's trying to share is like leaving that good memory, that positive memory behind. It's kind of a higher importance than the actual action itself.
I bet you thought 2 addicts or 2 drug addicts were going to bring a lot more fire answers than we're just going to go tell our loved ones we love them.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, that totally makes sense, right? Like, you know, when I'm looking through the lyrics of this song, I mean, you know, and this is really extreme, right? But like, there's probably a lot of shit in here y'all have already done, or, you know, or what, you know, like, there's bad things, right? Like, or things
I've gotten all that out of my system.
That's what I'm saying. And so for me, you know, like the idea of killing pedophiles, I'm kind of like, it's not that bad of an idea. I'm not too bad about it. And I think he even says in the song, like, will I go to heaven or will I go to hell if I do this?
Right.
You know? And so like, I mean, I'm taking a chance. Like maybe I'm not going to go to heaven because I had to kill these pedophiles before I got out of here. You know what I mean?
He's actually thinking about that verbally out loud. I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I caught that part.
Okay. Really quickly, up until this point that I'm asking you this question, have you thought of this yet? Are you going to have sex with your wife before you leave?
Absolutely.
1000%.
Yeah, but y'all didn't mention it until I said it just now.
Well, that's a no-brainer.
Oh, it's a no-brainer?
Yeah, that's supposed to be in there, right?
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Like you wake up in the morning and you hit your like clock to start the 24 hours. You're like, okay, when do you get started? You know what I mean?
That's like saying, are you going to waste the time to wipe your ass after you take your last shit
right?
or
Like
something?
that's understood.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But dude, Joyner started his crazy journey. He was putting these YouTube videos out, and I remember like one of the first ones I saw, he was like breaking down this gang initiation, right? And how this guy is rolling with the clique, and he's got to go jump this dude, and like to get into this clique, right? And then it flips the whole song around, and now it's the guy that's getting beat up, and how he's getting bullied in school, and like he's socially awkward, and no one likes him, and all this other stuff, and he hates himself, and he wants to kill himself. And then all of a sudden it shows, you know, the video shows the gangster dude like killing him, and like it's a whole crazy journey. And so that's what made me fall in love with the way that he lyrically breaks shit down. And he did it in the song too, where he took it all the way through the day. He's like, this is exactly what I would do. And then he even threw some perspective in there, like, am I going to go to heaven or hell? Mm-hmm. All that kind of stuff in between. And I think that takes some real skill to do stuff like that, man, to really break a whole story down. And I'm a big storyteller guy. And so is he. We just like different types of storytelling. But man, there's some real lyricism going on with Joyner for sure.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy the complexity of what he's doing and like the craft. I think just maybe it's just like his cadence and beat selection isn't my taste.
Yeah,
Not taking away from his skill at all.
no, and I think a complete artist for me, I'm liking all of it. I'm liking the beats he chose. I'm liking his rapping style, his cadence, the whole thing.
Right.
It all has to hit for me. You know,
Right.
who do you think is the best? I don't want to put it on one, and we always do this exclusion of Biggie and Pac. So we're going to exclude Biggie and Pac.
Okay.
Who's the best storyteller in rap?
As you're wearing the Tupac shirt.
Yeah, well, I had to represent. You know what I mean?
Oh, best storyteller.
But look, I mean,
man,
yeah,
that's
I
a
know
hard
there's going to be kind of more than one answer, but just kind of one that comes off the top of your head or your favorite or whatever. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Because really, honestly, and this is just my opinion, in Snoop Dogg's early stuff, he was a storyteller.
Absolutely, man.
You know what I mean? And he was
Murder
a
the
great
Case and shit.
Yeah, great.
Oh.
He was a great storyteller, and it's a really unique kind of way of doing it. But then you could say Nas is a great storyteller.
Absolutely.
Face is a great storyteller.
Slick Rick,
Yeah, Slick Rick is a great storyteller. M's a great storyteller.
All right, I go.
I got to go back to Black Thought, bro. Come on.
He's one of my favorite of all time.
That's what I'm saying. Like Black Thought, Mos Def, dude.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Talib Kweli.
And I guess you know what? It'd be fair to go. There's different types of storytellers.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about
Just like there's different types of pizza and different types of hamburgers.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. Every hamburger and pizza is not the same. Not every storyteller is the same.
Exactly.
Because I don't know if you can compare like someone like Snoop with something like Mos Def or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's totally different dudes.
I would have to say the one that keeps me the most interested would be Eminem. Like the way that he breaks shit down.
What's the greatest story ever told in a rap song?
Wow, that's a question.
That might be too big for my knowledge.
That's a question right there.
I mean, just of your thing, because immediately like Eminem's Stan has got to be top 5.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
absolutely.
Devil's Night by Mortal Technique's got to be up there.
That's in there for sure.
I mean, there's so many.
Immortal's a savage.
Well, would this I feel like it's going to be kind of blasphemous. Would Lottie Dottie be like a?
Absolutely.
I mean, because like it's such a he just
Oh yeah,
he
dude.
weaves that story so well
on that Dre beat and
Yeah.
the way that absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure there's so many more. I mean, like, didn't Slick Rick have a song called The Art of Storytelling, or was that the
That's
album? But
that's where Lottie Dottie came from.
oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So I don't know.
There's a lot.
There's so many for me, man. It's really hard to answer that question.
Devin the Dude, on his original album. I'm trying to think what the song's called, but he tells a story about like he's talking. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's talking about all the different styles of rap that this dude that wants to rap could do.
Right.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yes,
And
yes,
like,
yes.
You know, you could go the girl route and talk about some weed or some hoes, or you could go this way and, you know, talk about growing up with slim to none chances and like just painting that whole picture. It's like you can picture like a young, hungry dude in the hood, like trying to get into the rap game and stuff like that. They're just the vivid, you know, the vivid description of how somebody could do that with lyricism is just mesmerizing to me.
Pimp C was a great storyteller.
Such a great storyteller.
I mean, so
absolutely.
is Bun B, but Pimp C
those two together
were great
as a duo. Like they
might be the best duo storytelling group.
they killed it, man.
There's a lesser known artist. I think he's changed his name a couple of times, but he was from Cincinnati. His name was Showtime. He has a song called Breathing. If anybody listening to this wants to hear a fucking crazy storytelling song, that is one of my top 3 at least. It's definitely something I'll send you guys. But
Oh yeah, I gotta hear it
it's
now.
just you just sit back in your seat like, holy shit.
Bro, Crooked Eye is also really good. Well, now he goes by King Crooked, but yeah, he's a really good storyteller.
There's
as
so
well.
many.
I think, okay, this is more of a question for Shawn. Would you think that maybe your lack of interest in new rap music is from the lack of storytelling? Or the lack of the story and the flow? Because I feel like a lot of new rappers, They just kind of safe shit.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason. They're just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna spit this bar in this verse. I'm gonna spit this bar in this verse, and then we're gonna do a hook. But there's no like building up like the way old rap songs do. And like the rap artists I like now, like as an example with this 24 Hours to Live song, the song builds like a story, right? So young rappers really kind of don't do that. And is that why you're so disinterested in newer rap music?
So I think, so back when I was at the height of, mid 90s early 2000s is like when I finally discovered and was like all in on rap, you know what I mean? Like where I became a nerd for it. And so take that and look at the parallel, like with the NBA. The NBA at that time was hardcore, Jordan rules, you know what I mean? Don't drive in the paint, you're getting slammed down. That's how rap was. It was super competitive, you know what I mean? There's beefs going on, there's layers. This record label's going after this record label. There's none of that now. There's no competitiveness. And so like you got a guy like J. Cole or Kendrick, like nobody's coming at him. Like it's not, I don't know that those guys are, I'd say J. Cole more than anybody, he's the only one of this era that still like has that, like when he spits on his songs, he's like, all right, come fuck with me, like try. And nobody will try him. But I think maybe the competitiveness and then the grittiness has been kind of lost.
It's so interesting that you say that. I feel that a lot. Like
the edge is gone, right? Like it doesn't have that.
It's evolved into something else. And so now I feel like the angry old man that's these crazy kids today and their music. You know what I mean? It's just not my shit.
Okay, so it's funny that you say that. So like, tell me what you think about this. 90s, 2000s, NBA, there's pushing, there's shoving, push off, hand checking, all that kind of jazz, right? The music is kind of similar the same way. And now in the NBA, everybody's friends with everybody. And I listen to interviews with newer rappers and they're nice. Mm-hmm. There's no like, and a lot of times maybe they really haven't done any gangbanging or there's nothing really bad about it. They rap about it, but they're just nice people. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm friends with such and such. I'm friends with such and such. And maybe just in one way, it's lost that little bit of competitiveness. But in another way, maybe it shows that we've become a better, more connected society, that not everybody has to hate this other dude or has to be a beef all the time, that they can make good music and not always have beefs to back it up. I don't know. I also think that when you were talking about like the J. Cole, like the separation between the top dudes and everybody else is the gap is huge, right?
Yeah, it's big.
And I feel like that those younger people, they don't put in that work. Mm-mm. And so they're never, J. Cole puts in work. Right. They're not going to put in that work. And that's why they're where they're at. And maybe it's not the lack of competitiveness. It's just a lack of work right. ethic of just working for something hard, right? Because there's so many of these young rappers that I'm like, oh, I kind of like that song. And then you never hear from them again. They're just gone.
Now think about this, like, J. Cole, Kendrick, they're coming up. They got people like Snoop, like all these people to look, Nas, Jay-Z, all these people to look up to, right? So now this new generation coming up, who do they have to look up to? You got Kendrick and Cole, and who else?
That's it.
Like before, there's endless. There was a clip recently I thought it was very interesting. It was Nelly. I think I don't know if he was on Drink Champs or what. Did you see it?
No.
And he comes out and he's like, "Oh, do you guys realize I was in the most competitive era in hip hop ever?" And then you're like, "What?" And then he's like, "I was in there with Ludacris, Jay-Z, Eminem," and he just starts naming them.
Outkast,
and he's like, "We're all going for that number one spot." And I was just like, man, think about it. Like as a rapper, coming up then, but like now, who are you going up against?
Well, and it's a different who you're going up against, because I was thinking, okay, so who are you if you're trying to be the top dog, this is going to sound fucked up, and see it from my point of view. From a public point of view, the top dog is Drake. But mm-hmm. Drake's not really a rapper. Drake's not really a lyricist. He's a pop artist, mm-hmm. right?
Absolutely.
But like that's where we are in hip hop, where the top dude is a pop artist. You know what I mean?
Embraces that too.
Yeah,
I mean, totally embraces that.
But that's why it works so well for him, is because he does. You know what I mean? But that doesn't help hip hop out at all.
And
you know what I mean?
And I think that's why he gets the hate that he gets, because I feel like there's a lot of us were like, when he was first coming up, they're like, all right, he's got something.
Because it was like, look, it was I was listening to old Drake the other day. like that shit was hard.
Yeah, he came out
Because Lil Wayne was probably writing all this stuff. You know, like it was the writers he had were hard.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But his writers ain't hard no more.
There you go. You just hit it on a level that a lot of people don't think about.
No.
Like some of these cats have writers, man.
He was Young Money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Lil Wayne. That's Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
So like all the people on the little Young Money label that were around him that were not probably as, you know, blessed and as fortunate to have a life that Drake had, which was very nice in Canada probably.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think Drake ran into a lot of gangster stuff in Canada.
So I think that's why Drake probably gets that. He's an amazing artist. Absolutely. Dude knows how to
He's
sell
talented,
records.
very talented.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the hip hop heads are sitting around like, oh, this is it. This is what we got. Fuck this dude. You know what I mean?
Most likely.
Well, look, if I'm going,
I don't know. Maybe they just pay respect because of where he's at. Like he's become
Everybody respects him, but I'm saying like that, bro, he gets a lot of hate when he drops shit. Like, bro, I'm not pulling up the Drake album. I'm not listening to his new songs because I want to hear some fucking wittiness. I want to hear some bars. I want to hear some aggressiveness. I want to hear some
back and
lyrical
forth
precision, some shit that makes me think. Like, I want to hear all that. And I'm not getting any of that from him.
well, I mean, he's a pop artist.
What's the dopest verse he's ever had?
Oh man.
It's got to be the Forever song, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Which that verse isn't even that dope.
That song was hard as fuck though.
But he probably had the third best verse.
Eminem's was definitely
Right. Then Wayne.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Then
but
Drake,
he's
then
on he's on an album with Wayne and Eminem. I mean, like,
Right. So he had something. Everybody saw it and was like, all right, he's got something. And then just never really delivered on the lyrical stuff after that. Drake would love to have you on my podcast, but I just
shout out to
don't fuck with
Texas.
the music.
Fucking Jay Prince found him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Jazz Prince. The son.
Sorry.
you stand corrected, sir.
My bad.
I'm just
H-Town.
if I didn't, then somebody on there would come at.
I'm just saying.
This motherfucker did.
Canada to H-Town.
Hey.
Come on, let's go.
Look, all I'm trying to say is when y'all first said what's Drake's hardest like thing, and then y'all said Forever, and I was like, it is Forever, but that's not what came to my mind first, and this explains exactly who he is. The first thing that came to mind was Popstar, because I love his wordplay in Popstar, but that's not a hard bar.
Right.
That's not hard lyrics. And y'all were like, what's his hardest bar? Well, his hardest bar is Forever. My favorite song and my favorite lyrics he does is in Popstar, which is weird. You know what I mean? But I don't like it because it's rap music. I like it because it's poppy. I like that the happiness of it makes me happy, you know? Not all rap music makes me happy. Some of it makes me want to fight somebody.
See, I like Trophy. Y'all know Trophy?
Oh yeah.
That shit comes out hard. It's got the horns in the background.
But that's old too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like old Drake.
You just said something good. So what you said it puts you in a mood. What rap song makes you the happiest? I just heard mine the other day and had this conscious thought, and I was like, this song always puts me in a good mood.
So it used to be Mike Jones back then.
Okay.
But it has recently changed to, and I don't know if it'll ever change now, this is weird because it's always been Mike Jones. It's Joyner Lucas, Lotto. I cannot not dance when that song is on.
Really?
Yeah. And it's so random to pick a song that's so new, like newer.
Yeah.
Like, you have a whole genre of music to choose from. But like every time I put that song on, I start kind of dancing because it starts off with these violins. And like that violin I'm getting goosebumps. That violin's just getting me every single time in the beginning. And I'm like, yeah. And I know all the words. And so I sing it all the way through. What's yours? What are y'all's?
Good.
My new one right now, it's called Forever New. And it's got Stevie Stone and Recognize on it. And it's just the whole vibe of that song. And like they're actually talking about like touring and
You said Stevie Stone and Recognize? They were both on Strained,
people
right?
sleep on Stevie Stone, bro. That dude's savage.
No, I like them all when they were on.
But yeah,
Strange.
For some reason when that song comes on, I'm like in a great mood and I'm like jamming out in my car and I don't care if somebody's looking at me at the red light. Like I don't give a shit. It's amazing.
Mine is Naughty by Nature, Feel Me Flow.
Oh, yes.
As soon as that beat starts, bro, I feel like it could be pouring rain out. I feel like it's summer outside. Fucking like, Let's go.
Hey,
That's a
so
good
we're
one right
talking
there.
about we're talking about mixtape therapy, right? So I make a lot of playlists, and I have a playlist called Let's Go.
Mm-hmm.
And every song on there, a lot of times it doesn't matter where I'm at, but if I hear it, my mood just boom picks up. Because I'm like, let's go. Like, and it could be just like the horns in the beginning of the song, or it could be just like the way the beat rolls in, or maybe he just starts yelling from the beginning, like on it's UGK's Return.
Oh,
You know how that song starts out?
yes.
He goes, it all started with a Pimp C, bitch, so what the fuck is up? And that's how it starts. Like, it just jumps into it. And I'm like, yes, let's go. You know what I mean? And so I have a lot of that music in my phone. I make a lot of different playlists for different moods. That's how I came to this mixtape therapy thing.
Right.
Was like how music affects me and puts me in a mood. Like, I'll tell a quick story and I won't make it long. My girlfriend's a musician. She wrote some songs a couple weeks ago. She finally let me hear one of them. And dude, I just started fucking bawling. Because I'm humble brag and I'm obviously biased. My girlfriend's incredibly talented, and I just couldn't believe that she wrote it like in a couple of hours, the whole song in a couple of hours. She took it to her producer, and he was like, "This song's complete. You don't have to do anything to it. I just need to mix it down." What?
Yeah,
That's
dude.
incredible.
What kind of music?
She does like this very melodic, kind of like flowy, soft voice. Like, you know, you ever heard somebody sing in what I would call like a painful whisper? Like,
Do you know who Alina Baraz is?
no, is that kind of,
So she's got like that
or
kind
like
of
Billie Eilish kind of does it, that painful kind of whisper. She sings like that over like kind of these like mellow kind of beats, and then she does piano stuff with it.
Nice.
But I started bawling because I was like, she's so talented and this is so incredible. And I would give anything to be able to write a song in a couple of hours and put it down and just have it be done.
Dude, music has that power, man.
Well, and she's a special person like that. She has a special ability to do that. And so like, I'm always encouraging her. I go, this is your superpower. You know, she wants to stop human trafficking. That's what she wants to do with life. And I was like, you could do that with this. You know, you could make music, make money, give that money to somebody that could stop human trafficking. You could take your superpower and use it.
Hopefully Russell doesn't mind me telling this story. Do you care? You already know what I'm
You don't
saying?
know what the story is.
No, go for it, dude. I'm not ashamed of anything I've ever done, so go ahead. And
No,
throw that out there.
no, I'm ashamed. I'm going to publicly apologize at the end. But
Okay.
so when I met Russell, that's what we vibed off immediately. As soon as we met, we realized we were hip hop heads, and instantly, first night, I'm sending tracks to him, he's sending tracks to me, and so like we vibed off that. And so Russell had told me about, you know, I grew up like a lot of white kids in my era, riding around doing blunt cruises, freestyling, rapping. I took it very serious, but then I went the drug addict route, you know what I mean, and never did anything I needed to do with it. So at the end of the day, I was just another white kid freestyling. He actually had a music video. He was writing an album. He was doing all this. And so for the first couple of years of our friendship, every time we would talk, I'd ask him about it, or he'd bring it up. And he was always working on it. And I got to like, I love this dude. He's one of my best friends in the world. And so I got to a point where it was like, I felt it was time to have like a tough conversation where it's like, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, if this is what you love, if this is your passion, make a fucking run at it. Like, you either need to make this leap of faith, or it might just be time to just not do it. You know what I mean? Because you're driving yourself crazy, because he was trying to finish this album. He was doing this thing. And so I was attempting to try to like give him that final push. Like, let's go, motherfucker. And then I think from that, he ended up stopping writing and stuff like that. And so if I was I'm sure I was, I apologize if I've robbed you of any of your dream or anything like that. But it was, hopefully you see it was coming out of a place of caring, where it's like, I'm watching you torment yourself. Fucking let me try to light this fucking fire, because I'll support you either way. I love you no matter what. But let's fucking go, bro. Let's get you on this stage. Let's make this fucking push. Come on.
Dude, I will never forget that conversation, because like it made me go back home that night, and I was like, fuck, dude, what am I doing? And I had been in this place where I had writer's block, like really bad. And I was still, those of y'all that are listening, I did this thing for several years where I posted this daily bars on Facebook, right? Like I do like 8 bars or 16 bars on Facebook, and just like make it like a life-driven thing, like where I was at in that moment. And part of it was to practice my writing, but another part of it also came from the expression, right? Mixtape therapy. I was able to express myself through that, and it really helped me get through at that time. And so did my music. So it like served its purpose. That's why you don't need to apologize, dude, because that brought me to a place where I was like, do I really want this life? And it all boils down to like, I'm sober now, dude. I don't want to live in bars. I don't want to be on the road for 6, 7, 8 months at a time. Like, I want to be near my family. I want to be near my loved ones. I want to have a fellowship around me. I want to be able to do shit like this and like really do something that matters locally, but also have my own like self-care time. Man, I think that's so important to me now. So after we had that conversation and he made that statement, it just stuck with me, dude. And I went home and I really thought about it. I was like, why is this like ringing in my fucking heart right now? And it was just a realization that I need to have. And I actually thank you for saying that, because
There was
Can I say real quickly, Shawn, that's very presumptuous of yourself to think that you have enough power to get Russ to quit doing music.
No, that wasn't you.
I said that and you quit. So,
I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you because I'm saying like if I ask you, Russ, right now, you quit because you wanted to quit, right?
Yeah,
you didn't quit because Shawn told you.
No,
it wasn't anything Shawn did that you quit. He might have brought some stuff to awareness, right?
yeah. So
the funny part is I already quit. I did. Like at that moment, I had already quit.
That's what it was. It was like
he was like bringing it to my realization.
For like a year, it was like, man, I just need to get these last 2 tracks done. And I'm like, after I heard that a couple of times, I'm like,
you're like, come on, bro.
Like, how many times are we gonna say this shit? But there was a point where once I hit my 30s and I'm in addiction, like I started thinking, I was like, what am I gonna be, the guy in my mid 30s still busting freestyles at parties? Like, I'm a fucking grown man now. I missed my shot. I didn't make it. I didn't push it. I didn't have the work ethic. Drugs were more important. You know what I mean? That was my dream at one time. And I was like, I didn't do it. And so now at the age he and I were at that time, it's like, bro, like what, are you going to be that guy in your mid-30s? Like, I'm not saying you can't, but now is the time. You either have to do it. It's either time to hang it up or time to fucking push my chips all on the table and let's fucking go get it. And so that was what I was trying to present to him, and, you know, was on the good side, was hoping that it pushed him to do it. But like urgency. on the caring side, where it's like, bro, I don't want to see you give this a half-assed attempt and then you're 40, try to put out an album, go on a little tour and it fucking fails and then you're pissed off about it. So I felt like I was the one person that loved him enough to where it's like, bro, shit or get off the pot.
Do you know? Okay, so
and I love you for that. I totally love you for that.
Well, okay, so can I say that I appreciate like what you're saying? But what's so weird about that mindset? No, but what's weird about that mindset is how old is LL Cool J?
Oh, bro.
I mean,
50.
He started rap, but he's
no. But like I'm saying,
like
if LL Cool J goes and raps right now, how old is he?
I mean, probably
50?
60.
He's not 60. He's like in his 50s. He's a 55-year-old rapper.
55.
Okay.
So you're telling me that he can't be a 43-year-old rapper or a 39-year-old rapper?
Just getting started?
No, well, I mean, I'm not asking you if he's just getting started. I'm just asking he can't do that.
But that's you're doing apples and oranges. You're trying to compare somebody who already had some longevity in the game and hit when they were young.
What I'm trying to say is if you think that I'm not going to be fucking cool at 60, you are sadly fucking mistaken.
I never said that.
And so what I'm trying to say is if I want to rap at 60, you can bet your ass I'll try to rap at 60 and ain't nobody going to tell me that I can't do it or that I missed my shot, right? And I guess what I'm trying to say is I think like that. I think of like, I'm doing a podcast. I'm 50 years old. Who the fuck wants to listen to this shit? But like, I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
And you're doing it.
And it's the same thing for Russ. When I had him on the podcast, he goes, I'm getting back into doing my music.
I am. Yeah. That's what I was going to say is like,
so,
I'm transitioning
Shawn,
back into that now.
if you want to be a rapper, man, I support that 100%.
I'm about to dust off the pen and start
no, but I mean,
a little bit.
I think people get caught up in that mindset that I miss, like when you're a lot older, you go, I missed my chance to travel around the world. No, you didn't. You're 60 years old. Go travel. Like hopefully you made money.
Right.
And we do a lot of that of like, I missed my shot. Well, but did you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, like what if you had thought about the mindset, hey, I missed my shot to get clean?
No, for sure. Yeah.
You know?
It's never too late, of course. But look at what came from it. I presented it to him. If he had that in him, where he's like, fuck that. I don't care how old I'm going to be.
He would have
I'm
jumped
fucking
up.
make it. He would have been like, bro, fuck you. I'm going. But like, it would have already been that.
Well,
But all the evidence I had been seeing up to that point wasn't that. So that's why it was presented.
That's why he said that. That's why.
Well,
he
I mean,
presented it the
that's
way-
what makes you such like a good friend. That's what makes y'all such great friends. Is the safety of being able to
Absolutely,
have
dude.
conversations like that. I was just busting your balls.
Dude, I'm gonna
No,
flip it
please.
around too.
What's up?
To the positive side of how the back end of that happened. So he says that, right? And then I dive into my career, right? And I start getting my certifications, my arborist certification, my horticulture certification, like all these different things I can take with me for the rest of my life and further my career. And now that I have all that, and I'm still continuing to work on that, like
You're welcome.
I'm about to shut up. I'm about to get my pest control license and like do all this shit. I'm like, well, I think I'm going to incorporate the music back in, and not the whole album, like I was telling this guy, but a couple of tracks and throw them on Spotify. Like,
Hey, will you
not a big
please?
deal.
Will you please your first music video do it from a tree?
From a tree,
Like from
Yes.
up and like because like
like
you're
a
a
tree house and shit.
you're arboriculture, like you cut trees and trim them up and stuff like that, right?
No, I actually do liquid treatments on trees and shrubs. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
man.
totally
Shoots them up
different
with drugs.
Oh, you
Yeah.
could be like a tree drug dealer.
thing. Literally a tree doctor.
But
doctor
maybe you could do
tree.
your first video like you're getting your pest control, so you can do what?
Well, part of my job now is I adopted the pest control team.
So you'd be.
At my company, so like I'm doing the tree and shrub thing plus pest control.
I mean, I would
Put 'em
just love
together.
you just doing your regular job, just rapping. You know what I mean? You're like
in my uniform, in my work uniform.
and the whole thing. Like you just do it like you. But
Have you ever seen the exhibit video? What you see is what you get.
I don't know. Remind me.
He's sitting in his house, I think, and watching TV, and then he has to run to the store, and he goes outside, and then it's the whole video is him walking to the store, but it's just like car crashes going on and like pure anarchy, people getting robbed, and he's just like doing it. And then I want to say, I haven't seen the video in years, but at one point he transitions, goes through a doorway or something, ends up on stage and he's rapping. But I could see that as the video starts, he's out there shooting trees up, doing all that stuff, and then he hops in his truck, and the next thing you know, he's up on stage, lights, rapping. That'd be a dope video.
There you
Hey,
go.
total
Y'all are
side.
just giving me the best ideas right
Hey,
now.
total sidebar. Have you seen Coldplay's video for The Scientist? So the whole video is in reverse, but he's singing forward.
Mm-hmm.
So his lips are moving. He's singing the song, but as he's singing the song forward, the whole video is going in reverse the whole time.
Okay.
That shit is dope. Because like I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they got him to sing forward and move everything else backwards.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah. CGI
that.
technology.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we stop this part of Mixtape Therapy, I told Shawn that we maybe do like, top 5 rappers. I know I didn't prepare you, Russ. Are you prepared to do top 5?
I'll talk about it anytime, dude.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let y'all start top 5, and then I will jump in top 5.
Top 5 what though?
Oh, okay. So well, I was gonna go top 5 rappers, but you want to go fine tune it more than that?
Yeah, let's
I'm
get
saying, are we
subject
saying,
matter, dude.
Are we saying our top 5 favorite? Are we saying the top 5 best? Are we saying like we need
Lyricist,
parameters?
Okay, let's say favorite, because that takes a little bit of who, like the GOAT table off. Are we including Pac and Biggie, or are they automatically excluded?
If it's favorite, then we could throw them in.
Okay.
I think because these are just our top 5 favorite.
Okay,
rappers.
okay, fair enough.
Right.
Okay,
That's what's
so
up.
top 5 favorite rappers. Who wants to go first?
You go.
Oh, he's forcing me in. Okay.
You want me to
It
go?
sounds like
I'll
you're-
go.
No,
Fuck
I got
it.
it.
I'll go.
I got it. It's fine. So he knows, man. One of my tops. I don't know if he's number 1, but definitely up there. Black Thought for sure. Man, it's a tie. So like I'm not gonna put them in order, but I'm
That's
just
fair.
gonna give you 5 of them. So we got Black Thought, Andre Benjamin, Andre 3000. Fuck, man. This is a really hard question every time, but
Well, it probably changes sometimes, right?
It
like,
does,
like
yeah.
based on what you're into in the moment.
absolutely. Nas is on that list, man. I'm a big Pac fan versus Biggie. Of course, he grew up in the East Coast. Different story.
No, I'm more of a Pac fan.
See? Translates.
I was thinking about
Translates through the coast.
Can I really jump in real quick? I was thinking about the argument of Biggie and Pac,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to dismiss that Biggie wasn't great, but Pac did that all by himself, kind of. All the poetry he wrote and everything he did. Biggie had the backing of Puffy, which probably helped him write lyrics
man.
and like,
Yeah.
you know, that support. And for me,
So much support.
that's the separation between Biggie and Pac is that Pac was a lot of what he did. You know what I mean? Like he was the product of that. I feel like I could be wrong, but that's, I don't know. I just thought of that this morning.
He was a representation of all of it, man. He was like an embodiment of hip hop. Like
He was an embodiment of a human being as a person.
and he was authentically like just him.
Right.
Bro,
And people loved that about him.
Tupac to me transcends time. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think
Well, because-
I don't think because of like an Elvis. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think in many ways, you know what I mean? Like Elvis, the Beatles, the people that like transcend. I don't know. I'm not up on the Beatles music, right? But I'm very aware with how big they fucking were. You know what I mean? Like the type of reaction they got from people. And I'm not saying Tupac had that type of fanfare, but he's up there as like in that stature of like an Elvis, stuff like that. Biggie to me didn't. I think Biggie's a much better rapper than Tupac. I think Tupac was just a better artist
Yes,
overall.
I agree.
That
Totally
that
agree
fits
with
with
that.
me. What do you think about this? We always think of philosophers as being these really old dudes that are dead that we made statues of, but philosophy has to go on. So would you say that, like, you know, in a way, Pac is a modern day, he's a philosopher. He's not a rapper. He was really a philosopher, a thinker. He did it through the form of rap, but he did so many other things. And he was so much more than just a rapper and we'll say a person that got in trouble or a thug or, you know, the bad things he did. So he was much more than those two things. You know what I mean? As a human being, that's the impression I got.
And unfortunately, when he got to his height was when he was, you know, hit him up like West Side, this and that, was when he became more one dimensional. You know what I mean? Beforehand,
They wanted him to, though.
Right, before with Death Row is when he was complex. He was like you know what I mean? Like rally leader, like doing all these crazy good speeches and like getting people thinking, getting movements going, stuff like that. Like his music, actually, you know, Brenda's Got a Baby, stuff like that, like had true meaning and depth and shit like that. And then it would become more. And I like both. I like all versions of Pac.
Well, I just think that the whole industry, once the industry got a hold of gangster rap, it became not a lifestyle. It became a type of music. You know, it shifted from being...
They segregated it, man.
Yeah, in a way, it
they
did.
Put it in its own box.
Well, it's just like, you know, when you have like bro country and regular country, or you have indie pop, you know, how everything gets broken down in subcategories. But like, you know, they took advantage of that. It was a real lifestyle and a real thing. And then it got, you know, once someone found it can make money, they just exploited the shit out of it.
Yeah. Did you see that new? It was a recent interview with Ice Cube, and he was talking about the same people that own the record labels also own the prisons.
Oh,
wow!
That hits on a different level.
And so he was saying that, I mean, it's fucking Ice Cube. There's no better of a representation with him being the lyricist in NWA and all that stuff.
Oh,
but
yeah, absolutely.
he's like, you don't think like there's certain songs we did that got immediately passed through. Those were the Fuck the Police. Those were like these songs that were channeling all these black men or people from, you know, impoverished neighborhoods and stuff like that, channeling them to do illegal things and all that. And so then it rallies them to do so. They do. They go to prison. They're rapping about selling crack. They sell crack. They go to prison for 100 years, all that stuff. When you sit back and think about it, you're like, holy fuck. Like, you want to talk about business and like fucked up shady shit. Like, I own the record label, push through all this fucked up music. I own this prison. We're gonna load y'all up in there. And we're just gonna cash in. Like, that's fucked.
Oh, that's the American way, man.
Did we finish your top 5, Russ?
I think I got 2 more.
Okay.
So what do you say?
You said Andre 3000, Black Thought, Tupac,
Mac Miller, and Eminem. Boom. Every time I hear Mac Miller's voice, I get excited. I'm like, this fucking kid was so engulfed in hip hop at that time. And, you know, Primo doesn't just let anybody come and get on his beats and shit, right? Like Primo let him in, and I was like, oh shit. And then Royce the 5'9" did a track with him, and I was just like, damn, like this kid is blowing up. And then he overdosed and died. And I also relate to him on that, right? As an ex-heroin addict, like
Was he a heroin addict?
oh yeah,
Okay, I didn't know that.
he was a big opiate addict, just all forms of it, pills and whatnot. And I think at the end there is when he started to actually get into the real thing and not just
Really? I never heard
painkillers
that.
and shit.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, not really a fact, just something I heard. I don't believe everything I hear, but yeah,
What about, okay, Shawn, what's
that's
your
my 5.
What's your 5?
Let's go.
Top 5 favorite of all time. We're going to go Scarface.
Yes. Yes.
Greatest catalog of all time.
Here's okay. Can we? So I told Shawn I was giving him a hard time about Scarface, but I'm not. But here's kind of my thing, which is so weird. I sent you my first memory of Scarface, and you were like, I never even heard. Like you heard the album, but like you're like that wasn't my deal. And what's so crazy about it is that album was in 1992, so that was like right in the middle of when I was in high school. The Scarface where you really started listening is Unbreakable. And like untouchable. And like, I don't even know if I ever really listened to that album at all because I was past Scarface, like past that phase shortly after that. And I just had moved on to other stuff. So it's wild that we had two kind of different experiences with the same artist too,
Right.
you know? Anyways.
Dude, what I love is he's from up north, man. And he knew about Scarface.
Bro, I was a hip hop nerd. I
That is
spent
crazy.
hours in the CD store finding shit. And then, so I discovered Scarface and then I'm like, all right, he's on Rap a Lot. Who else is on Rap a Lot? Oh, Yuck Mouse on Rap a Lot. Do or Die's on Rap a Lot. And I'm just going and buying their CDs. And then I like Do or Die. So now I have all the Do or Die albums.
Do or Die was,
you know what I mean? And
so
so
hard.
that's how I would like build on it. But back to the top 5.
Sorry.
Scarface number 1.
okay.
Or we won't number them.
Yeah, don't number them. Just throw them in a
All
group.
right, Scarface, Lloyd Banks. Lloyd Banks is one of the most slept on lyricists ever of
We've
all
had
time.
that.
I would 100% agree with that.
We've totally
His
had that
mixtape
conversation.
game and his newest albums are all fire. Freddie Gibbs. I fuck with Freddie Gibbs hard. Don Tripp. I listen to Don Tripp a lot. Memphis rapper, if you don't know. He's been dropping an album a month for like the past 10 months, 12 months.
Jesus.
So peep those out. And then
Talk about work ethic.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm trying not to give all the like mainstream easy ones. Like, these are like actually the people I listen to the most.
That's where I was trying to go with it. Like, this is the people that
And then
when it comes on, I don't change it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I let it play.
I guess we'll put Nas in there. We're gonna put one old school guy in there.
Really?
You know, I really don't. I
Let's
don't really
go.
feel as horrible about my answers at this moment as I did before because I was like, man, they're just gonna name all the like really good people, and not in a mean way, but I was like, they're gonna name all the really good people, and then my people are gonna sound like because I'm gonna name these random ass guys that I listen to, but now that y'all name random ass people or people that aren't mainstream, I'm like, yeah, I feel good about my answers now.
Yeah, bro. Throw 'em out there.
Yellow Wolf's in there for me too.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm
me
gonna throw,
too,
I'm gonna
but
throw Yellow Wolf.
I
in there.
can't get into that. Dude.
I didn't want to put him on top 5, bro. Like, he just dropped I don't know, man.
His
Like,
new singles.
his new single's kind of crazy, but
Not it.
Look,
like-
not everybody
Wolf.
can drive like, hey,
but
ain't
he's
everybody
an
Drake and
artist,
have
though.
15 people write for him, so everyone's a banger. You know what I mean?
he's an artist, though. That's what I love about him. Like, that's the theme between our picks, right? Is like, these people are fucking artists. Like, they engulf themselves in their art form and put all their passion into
Speaking of this, can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah.
So there was an artist that was coming to Austin, and I was fucking hype. He was coming, right? And so the artist is NF. And,
Oh, I like that guy. And
so-
he's a good lyricist.
Bro,
Oh,
so-
And he doesn't curse, which is amazing.
So he was-
It's amazing that it's hard and he doesn't curse.
So he was supposed to be a Christian rapper or whatever. I guess that's what he's
Advertised.
advertised as. So
Well, he
I'm like, all right,
was.
cool, NF's coming. And so you were with me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Great show.
I
by the way.
get tickets. This is what I'm saying. So we get tickets, and I ask a couple different of my friends if they want to go to the NF show. And my one boy was like, "Yeah, right, bro. Have fun with all the teeny boppers." And I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, bro, NF spits. Like, if you heard his shit, like, he's hard. He's like, bro, it's going to be all teeny boppers. I was like, nah, fuck no, it's not. So we show up to Stubbs, all teeny boppers, dude. All teeny boppers.
Yeah, dude, he was the tallest one there, by the way.
So we go in there, and
one other guy.
Who was with us?
Our buddy, what was his name? He went to rehab with you.
Nick?
No. Justin?
Anyway, I forget who was with us.
Cool ass dude.
Anyway, so we're at Stubbs. We're outside, right? All teeny boppers. This NF puts on one of the greatest shows I've ever been to. Like, he is an artist.
I've seen him. It's amazing.
A performer.
It's
it was fucking
crazy.
Amazing.
The stage is cool. He has this cool stuff on the stage and stuff like that.
He had a drummer out there.
Yeah, he had a cell, there was a cell when I saw it. Yeah.
Bro.
So this show, but the coolest shit about the show is, number one, we were hands down the biggest dudes there. And so everybody is like this, can't move around. Bro, we had like a 6-foot radius around us at all times. None of these kids would come near us.
No one wanted to get close to us.
We're all padded up and shit. Nobody was coming anywhere near us. So we had all this space. So we were just chilling. And then everybody's shorter than us. So it's easy to see
the whole show.
And then the one thing on top of all that is all these teeny boppers can't drink. So nobody's fucked up. Nobody's spilling drinks. You're not fucking your shoes up with beer on the floor and all that stuff. So I was like, bro, this show is fucking great. We need to do more like this.
I love Stubbs too, man. It's such a cool venue.
I saw
got a great vibe.
When Eminem's first album came out. I saw him at Stubbs.
Really?
Have I told you this story before?
No shit.
Well, I'll just tell you. I'll make it real quick because I feel like I've told it before.
Was it South by?
No. He was just touring. Like his first album, My Name Is, had just come out.
Really?
And so no one even really knew who he was. No one ever knew the songs on the album.
He was performing like House of Blues and shit like that.
Yeah, like he was doing really, really small shows. Like, I mean, it's literally like, like he was smaller than that Mexican OT is at this point, right? I mean, like he was small, right? So we go to the show. I think it was like Obi Trice and one of the other guys like from that part, like in or D12. It was like a lot of the D12 guys opened up for him, blah, blah, blah. Came out, like killed it, right? And then he climbs on the top of the speakers. They had speakers stacked up on each side. He climbs to the top of speakers and dives off into the crowd. They catch him. They carry him back to the stage, and as they're carrying him back to the stage, he's wearing like windbreaker breakaway pants, and they break away his pants. Like they start to break away because they're grabbing on him and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So then he raps the rest of the song like holding his pants up because they're he can't stop to button his pants all the way up and all. So he's just holding his pants and finishes the song, and then he he fixes his pants. It was so cool. I mean, it's probably one of the greatest concerts I've ever been to. You know what I mean? It was so cool. Because nobody knew the fuck he was, but he was like, I'm bringing you a show.
Right.
And that's what I like. That's what I liked about NF. I had never seen him before. He was big, but he was an opener. And he had the cage and like the cell and the whole thing. It's all a show. And like, that's like what I want to see.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Nas, man, I remember I used to do some stagehand work and work for ACL Live at the Moody Theater and like ACL Festival and Bonnaroo and all this other shit. But anyways, I was setting up a stage for Nas to perform the next day, and he had like the street light, like a real fucking Brooklyn street light on his stage, and like this whole theme that he was gonna go to the next day. And it happened to be my birthday the next day, and I got to see him perform at that show. But man, it was the same thing. It was like it's this whole vibe. It's a show. It's not just him rapping with a microphone in his hand.
For sure.
I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm gonna give my top 5 favorite, but I feel like there's some of these people that only have like one album. Is that fair?
They're your favorite, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
No judgments
Exclusive
here.
to you.
Okay, all right.
No judgment here.
So
He says no judgment. I'm going to judge the shit out of you. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna go Tupac, Biggie.
Safe. This is a safe list.
Oh, well, you mean I can take them off and just start over?
I'm kidding.
No. But I mean, I can name 2 extra ones if you want me to. But I'm trying to figure out. Okay,
Just go down the list.
okay, I'm just gonna go. Okay,
Let it come off your heart.
well, I mean, because okay, but if I do, okay, Tupac, Biggie, but then if I go Pimp C, Bun B, that's 4.
Ooh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So let's go Tupac, Biggie, Bun B is my favorite.
I love him.
Mace, And I mean, I just can't get enough.
Mace is all-out lyricist, man. That's a good one to throw on there. Fuck yeah.
I can't get enough of Cal Scrooby. I can't.
You love him.
Dude.
Like every playlist that you sent to us has Cal Scrubby on there.
Yeah,
Every time
because
I talk to him, he talks about Cal Scrubby.
okay. So, but let me tell you,
Scrubby, get on the pod, dude.
Look, here's what I can't
let's
understand.
go.
How can you like Eminem and not like this dude?
Right.
Because his early stuff sounds just like Eminem, which is unfortunate. Like I don't like his early stuff that it sounds like Eminem.
Like Asher Roth.
But what's that?
Like Asher Roth.
Or Fitz.
Yeah, like it's a copy, right? But then he found, as an artist, he found his own groove and found his own sound. And once he found that, I mean, every album, top to bottom, just killing it, dude. I mean, and as a lyricist and clever and, you know, quick-witted and funny and like all that kind of stuff. And it's not really about gangs and like violence, and it's about making music and people hating him on the internet and like and that
real
kind
life shit.
Real life shit that a white kid, hey, he's from Ohio. You know what I mean? Like he's a white kid from Ohio.
Let's
and
go,
so he's rapping
Ohio.
about white kid from Ohio shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I thought I just thought that was really cool. And
Youngstown in the house. Let's go.
It just feels really weird to have someone so new just be really one of my favorites. But I mean, literally, I could listen to probably like, you know, multiple, like at least his last 2 albums, top to bottom, and not skip a song. I mean, and I just like to do that much.
That's awesome.
Love it.
I love you.
I think you got one
outside,
more, right?
I'm outside your house right now.
Yeah, one, or was that 5? That was 5.
Scrubby
That was
was 5.
That made 5.
Well, throw 2 more on there.
Okay, 2 more.
Yeah. I want to hear.
Take your safe ones off there.
I mean, I will always love Snoop.
Fuck yeah.
Snoop's Michael Jordan to me. Snoop is George Strait.
Really?
Snoop.
Sean just rolled his eyes. Grandpa Snoop.
Because I think this is why Snoop gets in that category for me. The time in which he came out and where I was in life, that Doggy Style came out in like 1993. I graduated high school in 1994. I mean,
that was your time.
It hit me at such a time. His longevity, his ability to change styles, to do like a reggae album. He has kids raps. He has a kids cartoon. The way his longevity as a person, how he evolved as a person, how he moved away from gangbanging and going like, hey, there's more we can do. The way he gives back to his community. To me, he's just like, I mean, that's a career. That's a career I would want.
Absolutely,
You know
man.
what I mean?
That was one of my first albums ever, was Doggy Style.
Love that album. As a rapper, I kind of put him in because I'm loyal to the rap part. You know what I mean? And as far as his first album and then like the Murder Was the Case stuff and all that stuff, like he's untouchable there. Yeah. But then I put him in the same category as like Prodigy from Mobb Deep. So Prodigy from Mobb Deep on their first album, maybe 2. You know what I mean? Like one of the sickest MCs there is.
Savage.
And then just a tragic downfall of lyricism after that. And I kind of feel, you know what I mean? They got money, got comfortable. You know what I mean? Who else knows what was going on in life? But that's what Snoop did, in my opinion, too.
I wonder sometimes, though, do people evolve as artists because they get in where they fit in, but then they get the ability to really kind of go where they want to go? And, you know, at that time, was Snoop kind of forced to like do all the gangster? Not that he didn't want to do it or didn't know it or couldn't do it, but you know, he was like, they encouraged him to do all the gangster stuff. And then once he got his fame and money, he was able to go, well, I want to be more creative in this way, because like, I think there's a difference between somebody that is a gangbanger that raps and then someone that is in that community, in that life, but is an artist trapped inside that life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, you know, Snoop's talked about like all different music he likes, and like, you know, like Dr. Dre famously listens to everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so like, you know, Dr. Dre is an artist. He just happened to be trapped in that life. And I think that's the way, not to total sidebar this, but that's the way I feel about like that Mexican OT. Like when I heard him on the interview, I was like, you know, this kid, he was like, I want to be a rapper since I was like 4. Like, he's like, this is all I've ever wanted to do. And that's like a love, you know, for art and the art of it. And like, that's why I think, like, you think he came out of nowhere, but you go and listen to all of his other stuff before the last album and it all kills. Yep. You know what I mean? He would probably be, if I had to remove right now, like Biggie or Pac off there because we're gonna go just exclude them, I would put that Mexican OT.
He's a savage.
I love his beats. I love the way he raps. I love how fast and how slow it is. I love his different, time and his cadences.
Yeah,
I
man.
just love it.
He's really good. I
Love
agree.
it.